Okay, good morning. Today we are going to look at the volume and total surface area of prisms. So first off, prisms, these are three-dimensional shapes that have the same face at the front and at the back. So these are things like, let's list them. So these are things like cylinders. This is something that has a circular face at the front and at the back as well. Then you get rectangular prisms. So these are when you have a rectangle at the front and a rectangle at the back. And then you get cubes, which I'm sure you've all seen before. So a cube is a shape that has the same sized face on all sides. So it's made up of 6 squares with a square at the back as well. And then you get the last one is a triangular prism. And that's something like a Toblerone box. So it's where you've got a triangle at the front. I'll try my best to draw this nicely. And a triangle at the back as well. Okay, so it's when you've got a 3D object that has the same face at the front as well as at the back. Okay, now it's not always going to be orientated like this. We could have the same prism but lying on its face or something like that. Okay, so you've got to sort of squint a little bit, try and figure out what the face is of your shape. Okay, so with volume and total surface area, I'm actually just going to quickly erase this. So please pause it and write down the 4 different types of prisms. Okay, I'm going to erase it and I'm going to show you how to calculate the volume and the total surface area of a prism. Okay, so very similar steps. And the formula for them, very important, you know the general formula. Okay, so you should by now know all the area and perimeter formulae, and now here are 2 extras. So for volume, the general formula for volume is that the volume of a shape is equal to the area of its base multiplied by its height. Okay, and the total surface area of a shape is equal to the 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times height. Okay, so just so you can sort of imagine what this looks like, let's say we had a cylinder lying on its end like that. Okay, here the area of the base, so our base is the side of the prism that is the weird shape. So here that's the circle, it's a cylinder, so the circle is our base. So we would work out the area of that base and multiply it by the height of your prism. The height of your prism is the distance from one base to the other. So that's the height of the prism. So area of base, height. And then area of base is the same thing, height is the same thing, and here perimeter of base would be the perimeter of this circle. So that's the perimeter of your base. Okay. Now when you are asked to determine the volume or the total surface area of a prism, these are your steps. Okay, oopsie. Okay, so step 1. Okay, is to write down the general formula. So if you're asked to determine the volume, you'll write down the volume general formula, which you have to know off by heart, please. Okay, step 2. You identify the shape of the base. So for this one that we've drawn here, the shape of the base is a circle. Step 3, and I'll show you how to do this, you expand the general formula for your specific shape. Okay, step 4, you substitute in your values. Step 5, you type it all into your calculator basically. and you get the answer, and your answer needs to be rounded off to 2 decimal places. Okay, and your units for volume, your units are meters cubed or centimeters cubed or whatever your unit is cubed, and for total surface area it's meters squared or centimeters squared or whatever your unit is squared. Okay, so these are your 5 steps. You write the general formula, you identify the shape of your base, you expand your formula for your specific shape, substitute in your values, and then you write the answer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the steps here, erase this top part, and we're going to do an example together. Okay, guys, so question 1 is there up at the top. Example 1, we've got a prism. Here's our little diagram. Okay, they've told us that that side is 9 meters, this here is 12 meters, and that there is 2 meters. And we have to determine A, the volume of the prism. So we're going down these steps. As soon as you're asked to do volume or total surface area, it's these 5 steps every time. So step 1, we write down the general formula. We're looking at volume. The general formula for volume is area of base times height. Okay, step 2, we identify the shape of the base. This is a triangular prism. That means my base is this triangle over here. Okay, that is my base, which is a triangle. Okay, step 3, we're going to expand our general formula for our specific shape. So our specific shape is a triangle. So that means we need to expand this area of base to say the area of a triangle formula. Now the area of a triangle formula, I hope you remember, is half base times perpendicular height. Okay, so that's the expansion of area of base, and then we must multiply that by the height of our prism. Okay, let's go for it. Our triangle, this red part here is just dealing with our triangular face, this base over here. So reminder there, the area of a triangle is half times the base times the height. Now that your base and your height, remember, are the 2 sides that make the 90-degree angle. So here, the 2 sides that form our 90-degree angle are the 9 meter and the 12 meter, which means in brackets here we're putting 9 and 12. So that's the area of the base part done. And now times by the height of the prism. The height of the prism, remember, is the distance from one face to the other face. So that's this 2 meters here. So we're timesing that by 2. And we can put that all in our calculator. So that was step 4, substituting in your values. Step 5, get your answer. So we're doing a half times 9 times 12 times 2, and we get 108. Okay, and the instructions are to round off to 2 decimal places, but you only do that when it's necessary. Here we don't have any decimals, so we don't have to round off. And our units, we're doing volume, so it's meters cubed. Let's just check, is it meters? Yes, so it's 108 meters cubed for the volume. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for total surface area. So I'm just going to make some space for myself. So question B, the total surface area of the prism. Okay, so step 1, we write down the general formula. So general formula for total surface area is TSA equals 2 times the area of the base plus the perimeter of the base times the prism height. Okay, step 2, identify the shape of the base. We've already done that, it's a triangle. Step 3 is to expand this, expand the general formula for your specific shape. So we have to expand this for our shape. So that's 2 times. The area of a triangle is half base times height plus the perimeter of a triangle is side plus side plus side. Now whenever you substitute in, if I'm expanding that to an expression of more than one term, please do put it in brackets and then times height. Okay, now we can go ahead and substitute in our values. Let's quickly think ahead. My b and my h, so 2, that's going to stay the same. Half will stay the same. The base and the height of my face, we've already spoken about. The base and the height of your face are the two sides that make the 90 degrees. So that's 9 and 12. We have those. Plus side plus side plus side. So we've got 9, we've got 12. We don't have this third side of the triangle. We don't know what that is. Please don't get confused with this 2 meters. This 2 meters has nothing to do with the face. That 2 meters is how far back our prism goes. That is not the length of this side of the triangle. So we actually don't have that third side, which means we have to find it. And what do you use when you've got a 90-degree triangle and you've got a missing side? We use Pythagoras. Okay? So a little calculation on the side, usually you do it on the right. I don't have any space on the right, so I'm going to do mine here. We do a little calculation to determine that unknown side. Okay, so I'm going to call it x. And I'm using Pythagoras, so I'm using the fact that h squared equals side 1 squared plus side 2 squared. With a reason, Pythag. Okay, and we go and put our values in. So in this question, remember you need to identify your hypotenuse. Opposite the 90 degree, that is my x in this case. So it's x squared equals 9 squared plus 12 squared. So that's x squared equals 81 plus 144. X squared equals 225. And then remember, always your last step in Pythagoras is to square root both sides. And we get 15. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put this information in here. Now we know all the information we need. I'm just going to erase this reason. Don't forget that it needs to be there, but it's just taking up space. Okay, so this is now equal to 2 times half. The base and height of my triangle are 9 and 12. Side plus side plus side, that's the 3 sides of my triangle, which are 9, 12, and this one here, which I worked out was 15. And then multiply that by the prism height, which is this distance there, which is 2. Okay, and we can go and type all of that in on our calculator. Okay, so we've got 2 times a half times 9 times 12 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15 times 2. And we get 180. Okay, and now normally, so step 5, normally we would round off to 2 decimals. Again, I didn't need to do that here, I got a whole number. And now my units, I'm doing total surface area, that is meters squared. Okay, so this question, for your volume question, this would be worth 2 to 3 marks. For the total surface area question, because we had to do Pythagoras in it as well, it would be closer to 6 marks for question B. Okay, I'm going to leave you there with just the triangle one as an example. It works exactly the same for other shapes. So if this were a cylinder, when you got to this point here, if our base was a circle, if it was a cylinder, then here we would put area of a circle, which is pi r squared, and here we would put the circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r. Okay, so you would take your general formula and expand it according to whatever your specific base shape is. Okay, so I'm going to leave you there. Please do let me know if you get stuck. I will forward you the questions I want you to do. They are on OneDrive as well. They are in that, for the grade 9, sorry, they're on OneDrive. For the grade 8s, I'm stealing grade 9 questions for you.